Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the comedy class performance show? We're about to bring your host up here. He has been a key member of the Asheville arts community forever. He's a comedian, he's a teacher, and he was recently in the Addams Family play where he portrayed Lurch, or come to think of it, vice versa. Please welcome Randy Robbins.
So, good evening, everybody. It's a thrill. Last year I was killing myself at 6:45 because the room was empty. And it filled up because people like to come late. But this year, I guess the word came out because the room was half full at 6:35. So welcome. I did perform in the Addams Family musical as Lurch, and it just ended today, and I got my makeup off, and I'm feeling really good about that. The performance was such, I was in 5 scenes, and mostly mute. In one scene I grunted, and then in the finale I shocked the world by singing. And it was a shock, both to me and the world. But the thing is, I spent so much time silent in that theater that I'm bursting. So I'm sorry, but you're in for it. Just saying. So this is Stand-Up Comedy 101's final exam. No pressure on the students. Their grades will not be recorded until your response. Look at it as a reality show where no one gets voted off. Because that's what we're here for. We're here to support people, most of whom, or half of whom, have never taken a comedy class before. Several of whom did, and they're still coming back for more. So it's either they're going to do it till they do it right, or they just want to do it better. And in my opinion, it'll be more of the better. I almost said more better, but we know that that's grammatically incorrect. So my name is Randall with 2 L's, Scott with 2 T's, Robbins with 1 B. To simplify things, I call myself Randy Robbins. And nobody can get my name spelled correctly. I was reviewed, the Addams Family musical was reviewed by the Mountain Express. And the review that references me as the strong silent type, more age-appropriate Randy Robbins, Robbins with 2 B's. Randy Robbins delights as the moaning butler Lurch. Now, I'm not asking you to think that there's something special about me because I got a good review. It's the fact that they don't bother to get my damn name right. It's infuriating. Last Sunday, I did a thing, for want of a better word, at Deerfield. Deerfield's Rotary group asked me if I would come and talk to them for 45 minutes about what a stand-up comic does. Like I know? I only know what I do. But I went up, and you have to know your audience. I said to them, so the basic, and I'll teach it to you, it's free. I taught it to my class, it was free. It's probably worth the same amount. What's a joke? A joke consists of a setup and a punchline. And the distance between you got from the setup to the punchline, the funnier the joke. For example, my wife ran off with my best friend. Boy, do I miss him. I didn't say it's a great joke, and it certainly isn't mine, but it gives you the information that you need to know what a joke is. So I told it to the Rotarians, and they loved it. They thought that was great. And then I started telling my story, talking about, well, I started 20-some years ago. I took a class, much like the class that is performing here tonight, and I shared with them my first joke, the first joke that I ever wrote. If you've been to this show before, you'll know it, and hope you'll enjoy it again. I grew up in Bayside, Queens, New York. I always get some person. Are you from Bayside?
I'm from Queens, Little Neck.
Close enough.
Vigo Park.
Oh, now we're going to have a whole conversation here. All right, anyone else from New York City, you need to call out your borough? Get it out now. Brooklyn, yeah, Brooklyn. All right, shut up. Bayside, Queens, New York was the safest place to grow up in the universe once you were outside of your house. The little neighborhood that I lived in, we called Ittsville, because we had Leibowitz and Markowitz, Abramowitz, and again, my name is Robbins with one B. I went to my grandfather. I said, Pop, I need a Jewish name. And he said, how about Putz? And then, to make things worse, he was our rabbi. So I told this joke to the Rotarians at Deerfield. The guy in the front row says, what's a putz? So I worked that crowd, and I ultimately got him up in front of the room and did a riddle with him. A 4-part riddle. I won't take your time to tell it to you, but suffice it to say that he didn't achieve success of answering the questions. Anybody could do it. You know what? I'm going to do it. Young lady, you come up. Just come on. Come on. We only have 2 hours. Get up here. Okay. We've never met. Is that correct? Okay. Okay. Audrey and I are complete strangers to each other. So, Audrey, take the mic. I'm going to tell you, we're going to do a 4-part sequential quiz. And if you get 3 right out of 4, you win. Okay? And I'll help you with one if you need it. Okay? So question 1, how do you get an elephant into a refrigerator? Okay, Audrey's puzzled. Would you like me to help you? Yes. Okay. So in this particular question, there are 3 parts. So let me ask you, to put anything into the refrigerator, what's the first thing you have to do?
Open the door.
Talk to the mic.
Open the door.
Exactly. What would the last thing be?
Close the door.
Beautiful. So how do you put an elephant into a refrigerator? 3 parts.
Open the door, cram them in, and close the door.
All right, the cram part, not such a big deal. All right, what do you say? All right. Now, you're on your own for the next 3 questions.
Uh-oh.
Question 2, how do you get a giraffe into the refrigerator?
Open the door,
Open the door.
let the elephant out,
Let the elephant out.
and let the giraffe walk into the refrigerator, then close the door.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a ringer. Nobody gets that right. This evening is going downhill fast. Well, it looks like you're going to win, but there's a prize of little or no value. Anyway, congratulations. I'm proud of you. 3rd question. The king of the jungle in this sequential quiz. King of the jungle invites all the animals to his birthday party. They all come except for one animal. What animal doesn't come? No audience.
Somebody say a syllable. I didn't get the word, though.
Well,
Could you say it again, please?
No. I do the jokes.
I give up.
All right, call out, genius. Why?
He's in the
In the
refrigerator.
refrigerator. All right. Still can redeem yourself with this. You come to the river, you want to swim across, but crocodiles live in the river. How can you safely just jump in and swim to safety? All right, time's up. Do I have a volunteer to give the answer? Don't call out. Don't call out, I said. Yes?
The crocodiles are at the party, so
The crocodiles are at the party. You could swim across. Let's hear it for my strange friend, Audrey. Thank you. So the guy who didn't know what a putz was did the quiz. We got to the end. He didn't get it right. And he said, I didn't see that coming, that the crocodiles were at the party. Great. A couple of minutes later, I'm talking to the audience, and I say to the guy, by the way, what did you do for a living? He was an ophthalmologist. I had to take a moment to just do that. Just saying. I've told many people this before. When I took a class, the instructor in the class was really very wonderful about addressing the audience. He was fearless. And he talked about one time when he was in a room such as this and pointed to someone in the third row and said, what do you do for a living? And the guy said, I disinfect bowling shoes. And the teacher said, that's the worst job I have ever heard of. And then he turned to the guy next to him and said, and what do you do? And he said, I'm his assistant. Okay, so the people who are coming up tonight would probably not be engaging with you in the same way. It takes a certain kind of nerve to be able to do that. So be calm and loving and supportive, just like I know you will. We've done this now, this is probably the 8th class, and there are people here who have been in one or another of the classes. It's wonderful. This particular class was somewhat unique. Let me tell you about it before I bring them first up. I like to have 14 people to start the class with, because people realize during a period of time, this is a very hard thing to do, and they start dropping out. So if 7 drop out, we got a great show. One year, I started with 7. Big mistake. First day, a guy said to me, why does comedy have to be funny? Next week I had 6. I asked the guy in the class the second week, why did you take the class? And he said, I'm new to Asheville, I looked in the catalog, I told my wife, this class looks like the hardest class I will ever have to be able to take, even quantum physics, because it takes a certain nerve, to do all of this. So I said to the guy, well, I'm very flattered that you took the class. You think you're funny, right? And he said, not really. Now we're down to 5. We ended up with 1. True. But true to form, I went out, I brought in ringers, people who had taken the class before, and they came up and they reprised. Every time I tell this, I don't know how to say that word.
Reprise.
All right, either way. They had done it before. And so we did a show which featured one person who's here tonight, guest visitor, who was wonderful, and then some people who had performed before. It was a fun show. So this year I started with 11. We're down a lot. We're down a lot. So when I bring up any individual, I'll tell you a little bit about them so that you know what their backstory is. I didn't say this earlier, but silence your phones, please. Pictures are fine if you're taking them at me. Okay. Oh my God! It's like this is like a detective agency. Everyone's getting a call at the same time, and they're from the same table. Is it important? Oh, I just heard 2. Anyway, enough of that. So let's begin. Are you ready for some comedy? Okay.